Welcome back, guys. So today I wanted to finish off another John Carpenter movie on the John Carpenter bucket list of movies I haven't seen. There are about 5 or 6 films of his that I have not seen in his filmography, and I want to see all of them because I really do think he's a fantastic director for the most part. Even though every director, really almost any director I think ever, even if they've got a giant streak, they've got a few stinkers or a few just okay ones. And today, speaking of okay John Carpenter movie, I'm going to talk about Memoirs of an Invisible Man, which stars Chevy Chase and Daryl Hannah from 1992. A movie that I was surprised I have not really heard of until I looked up this movie that John Carpenter did. And the plot is basically just that Chevy Chase becomes invisible after this accident, and he and Daryl Hannah kind of help each other out because they're in love, and Sam Neill's character is on his trail just trying to get him. So that's basically the plot of it. And first off, I want to say that the effects for this movie are in various ways dated and not dated. Like, there are some effects that do hold up today that are really cool, and then there are some effects like whenever she puts makeup on his invisible face, so it's just like this face silhouette without eyes and without anything in the mouth. It looks very weird. So the effects in this, for its time, was really well done, and there are a lot of effects moments that still hold up. Like whenever you just see an item that he's holding when he's invisible, just that works. But whenever it shows things like him, the makeup on his face, invisible face, then that didn't hold up as much for me. So the effects vary, but still, I like how this movie, for the most part, holds up with effects. I still appreciate that it still holds up. But you also get a lot of cop-outs, too, where, like, whenever it's just Chevy Chase, you can see him not invisible, even though he's technically invisible, so they have that cop-out where, like, if it's just him on the screen, then it'll just be him with not being invisible, but he's supposed to be invisible, if you know what I mean. So they cop out in that, but to be fair, it helps to the viewer whenever, like, he's in a room with somebody and watching these people converse. It makes sense to show him, but, like, it's not like they show him uninvisible whenever everybody's around. It's just the shots of him alone. It shows him just uninvisible, even though he's supposed to be invisible. So, kind of a cop out in effects, but still, it makes sense to the viewer's eye to do that. And speaking of how John Carpenter directed this movie, I thought that this really didn't feel like a John Carpenter movie. It didn't feel like... There wasn't much that made me think that he directed this. Like, I didn't find anything like the music wasn't anything special, and I don't think he composed the music. But there wasn't anything special to that, and in terms of, like, the basic, like, story, plot, cinematography, it doesn't feel like anything that's his own. It feels like it's just like he came and did this kind of like for a money check. Like, and not to like say that as to degrade John Carpenter, but to be fair, he said a lot of interviews that like he just wants money for a lot of his stuff. Like the new Halloween that came out, he complained about so many of the other sequels for Halloween that came out that this time he wanted to be involved, so he got money, and he helped out a little bit to make it more respectful in his eyes for the franchise. So John Carpenter is one of those people where he wants money, and he's not going to lie and deny that he doesn't. So I could see him just doing this as a money check. And honestly, it's not a bad movie. It's just forgettable. Like, there's nothing, in my opinion, that stood out. Like, Chevy Chase is totally fine as normal. He's funny. And Daryl Hannah's good. And Sam Neill's good too, but there's not like anything that, again, stands out. And there's nothing that grabs me immediately in it. And it was just alright, but it was forgettable. And it just, really, in terms of John Carpenter's filmography, this one, I don't know where I'd put this. I don't want to say if it's my least favorite so far that I've seen of his, because I know there's something else that I've seen of his that I thought was worse than this. Or not worse, but just not as, like, my least favorite of his so far. God, I'm blanking on what it is. There's something else that I've seen of his that's worse than this. But overall, this one's not too It's not terrible. It's not great. It's just forgettable. It's like it's one of those movies where you can't tell that John Carpenter directed this, and the actors are totally fine. And this was a time where Chevy Chase was really big, and he was fine in the movie as well. But it just really just wasn't anything that gripped me or made me remember anything about this movie besides the fact that, oh, Chevy Chase and Daryl Hannah and Sam Neill are in it. They're fine, but everything else is just forgettable. Like, it's weird because it's about an invisible man, which we've had movies about an invisible man before, but like this just didn't stand out at all. So I'd say overall this one is just kind of forgettable. Like, it's not terrible, it's not amazing, it's just in the middle of the road movie that's just forgettable, and I'm not gonna remember anything about it. So but I wanted to watch it just because I'm a completionist and I want to see the rest of John Carpenter's movies. So yeah, that's all I could say about Memoirs of an Invisible Man. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me down below if you like this movie. If not, just tell me something else. So thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.